In case Pakistan Army or the Pakistan government is sincere, they can do all the investigation, how they were captured, where they were kept, how they were fed, and ultimately who shot them dead.
And has there been any contact or communication between you and the Pakistani authorities on this issue?
I wrote to the then PM of the Pakistan, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, by email, and I wrote 3 times to Pakistani High Commissioner in New Delhi. But unfortunately, nothing but came out from the other side.
And Dr. Kalia, it's been a long struggle for you and your family. Has it tired you? There must have been times when you wanted to give up.
No, I am as fresh as I was 13 years back. I am not at all tired, and this struggle will continue till I am alive, whether I achieve something or not.
All right, Dr. N.K. Kalia, Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia's father there. Mr. Singh, he's certainly hopeful of keeping that struggle alive. Is the real problem that Pakistan, as it did on the day itself, continues to deny any complicity in and any kind of torture on its side?
No, it's not the question, because the bodies were evidence enough of the inhuman torture that had been inflicted, eyes gouged out, genitals. It was not just Lieutenant Captain Kalia. Right. There were 5 other ranks of 4 Jat. A similar treatment had been meted out to squadron leader Ahuja, whose aircraft had been shot down. Now, in squadron leader Ahuja's case, that could not be denied because it was military action. If I recollect right, my recollection is not very good now, 13 years after that. This was a patrol sent out in the early days of Kargil.
That's right.
When it was not clear, whether it was the Pakistan military that was involved. So the Pakistan military and authorities were then putting out, these are infiltrators. It was a period of high and intense activity by infiltrators in Jammu and Kashmir. This was a new area for them, in Kaksar and Tatuk. And so in the early days, even the military intelligence information to us in government was these are infiltration activity. So a patrol was sent out. This was the first of the patrols, and the patrol was ambushed. Then a successor patrol to find out what had happened was sent out. That's if I remember right. And Pakistan kept denying that our soldiers are not involved. These are some infiltrators. And of course they hinted they are from Afghanistan, etc.
Absolutely. If Mr. Singh, I could cut in. In fact, Pakistan continued to deny for many years that they were in any case Pakistan regulars involved in the Kargil conflict. But about 3 years ago, they did put up names of what they called martyrs. They gave the Nishan-e-Haider to at least 2 officers who were involved in the Kargil conflict, thus showing, in fact, that they had been lying all the time. In a recent interview to CNN IBN, President Musharraf had not just talked about the Kargil conflict. He had, in fact, said that it was perhaps revenge for Bangladesh. Given all that new evidence, given the fact that the Pakistani government now accepts that there were Pakistani army regulars in that Kargil conflict, do you think that there is a hope now of taking up this case as perhaps a way of, in fact, remembering all the martyrs of Kargil? Do you think the Saurabh Kalia case should be made, in fact, a lightning rod for India's cause for justice over Kargil?
Not a lightning rod, but certainly an index. And let me correct the misimpression. It's not General Musharraf now admitting regular soldiers involved. We had taken prisoners of war.
That's right.
And we returned the prisoners of war. We had casualties of the Northern Infantry.
NL, yeah.
And Yeah, and of course we provided to those casualties all the military honor in their burial. If you go back to the videographed records of that, you will find that there was proper military honor.
That's right. Bodies that Pakistan had refused to accept at the time.
That's right. That's right.
Mr. Singh, I then have to ask you what so many of our viewers have written in, what so many Indians are feeling today, which is that given this entire bulk of evidence, why is it that Captain Kalia's case, that squadron leader Ahuja's case, was not made a priority? Why wasn't this evidence taken to the international forum? Why wasn't it taken, if not to the International Court of Arbitration straight away, why was justice straight away? Why wasn't it taken to the UN Human Rights Council to have this declared a war crime?
No, indeed, you're right, but I think there's a misimpression that none of this happened. A great deal of this activity, including taking it up with the government of Pakistan, continuously was happening. But to take it to the legal side of it, whether United Nations or the international human rights or whatever else you've listed, that by the time this could be done, I was out of the ministry and working in North Block. Right. So I cannot answer directly for that period.
Okay, would you say though that bilateral relations with Pakistan proved then more important than taking this case to the international forum?
No, I don't think so. I think that would be unfair to arrive at such a conclusion or even such a judgment. Pakistan relations with Pakistan were pushed towards normalcy despite abnormal behavior by Pakistan. It would be a mistake to think that only after total normal behavior is resumed, then only shall we have normal relations with Pakistan. That would be an error. It doesn't really happen in any area of conflict.
And given that we do have better relations with Pakistan today, should the Indian government be pushing for that apology? Mr. Jaswant Singh, I'd like to ask you as a final question, what is it you'd like to say to the Kalia family today? What is it that they can hope for from the Indian government?
I had been in correspondence, if I recollect, with Mr. Kalia. He wrote to me. I remember very well writing to him and sharing his anguish and pain with him. What should I say to him? He's a father. And I had felt the pain and the insult of desecrating a soldier's body in this fashion as my own. I had said it in press. I had said it to my counterpart, Janab Sartaj Aziz Sahab. And I had taken up very strongly, not simply in a diplomatic manner, but really as one soldier to another. This is no way to treat casualties on the field. And I shared his anguish. And of course we must do whatever we can to assuage the pain of the family.
Right. Mr. Jaswant Singh, thanks so much for joining us.